Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Overwhelm is Optional podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to make you aware of an exciting opportunity. I'm going to be teaching a free 3-part live workshop and I'd really love it if you came along. So if you'd like to experience working with me live, you'll have a workbook and we'll be doing lots of really good exercises to help shift you out of overwhelm, de-stress and get you really on the way to starting to create a life that works for you rather than battling and just getting through your days. So it's a really good opportunity for you to work with me for free. So do sign up. You need to go to heidimark.co.uk/workshops or click the link below this episode. I look forward to seeing you. Enjoy this week's episode. How you are in the world matters. Overwhelm is inevitable and optional. Time to listen up and make it optional for you. Hello and welcome. So in this week's episode, I'm going to explain why I no longer teach yoga. And you might be thinking, I don't care. I didn't even know you taught yoga. And some of you will be going, I remember when you taught yoga. I loved it. I missed it. Anyway, this is why I no longer teach yoga. So I was a math teacher for 9 years and I was brilliant at it. I loved it. I did loads of stuff to do with well-being and coaching and I was passionate about it, but it basically wrecked my health. So I got out in the most inelegant way possible. And my elegant exit was setting up my own wellbeing business, studying positive psychology. So I already had a psychology degree, and positive psychology is the new psychology of thriving rather than studying what evil people do. And I made the conscious decision to not study for a master's in applied positive psychology because I was already overqualified. I eat information for breakfast and I needed to get out of my head. And I took the extraordinary decision to retrain as a yoga teacher, which in my 50th year was just really unusual thing to do, because at 50 you're kind of like, is my body okay to be a yoga teacher? And I chose to train in Zen yoga, which is also a really unusual thing to do, and it was the best thing I could have done at the time, because Zen is about, well, the premise, you are both perfect and a work in progress, comes from Zen. And also getting to hang out with a Zen master for 2 weeks is life-changing, obviously. And I did other things. I did retreats and all sorts. So I learned a lot during that period of time. And my plan was still, I'd already set up my wellbeing business, but unexpectedly, my health crashed even more, because the third job I had tried to move to was not, it just wasn't it was again a really unhealthy environment for me. And conversely, retraining as a Zen yoga teacher made me even less able to cope with the toxic environment. And you think, well, why? That doesn't make any sense. Well, actually it does, because I wasn't supposed to be there. It wasn't right for me. It was just so wrong for me. And I was so deeply connected to myself, and I so relished being healthy. I so relished having energy. I felt so good, and I didn't want to go backwards. And going into that last school was so ridiculously bad for me. It was insane. And I'd taken a huge pay cut to do it so that I could spend 2 days a week just building up yoga classes so that I could transition gradually and work out what it looked like as a bigger picture as a well-being. I wanted to bring in my psychology and the Zen philosophy and the yoga and meditation and mindfulness and all sorts of things. And it just didn't work like that. And it was really painful, because I crashed and burned, and I lost a lot of confidence and I lost financial security. And it's really tough starting a new business without confidence, security or energy. It's really, really tough. And it's tough enough starting your own business anyway, because it takes so much courage. But I never for one moment thought it would fail. It felt like, yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I hung in there, and as I healed and regained my health and my confidence, I just taught Zen yoga for a bit. And I absolutely loved certain things about it, and I really didn't like other things about it. So I thought I'd be teaching quite physical yoga, but what happened was, I guess in line with the state I was in, was that even though I tried to get people moving, they didn't want to move. Once they'd laid down on that mat, they didn't want to get up. They were exhausted. And people started saying things to me like, oh, I love coming here because within moments I just feel like all my stress is gone. Like all my overwhelm goes when I come here within minutes. You are magical. And I started to examine that. So what was going on? What was happening? And then people say, it's your voice. You need to record your voice. So it was just the teaching and the listening to what was going on. And then the listening to myself helped me get to where I am now. So this is like 2.5 years later. And here I am with a business where I teach people how to really listen to themselves and get their life working for them, rather than pushing against themselves. And that comes from that experience of holding space in, workshops and weekly classes of yoga teaching. And I'm really grateful for that. But this is what I didn't like about it. I didn't like the fact that people would come and they wouldn't always come. So they'd let themselves down, they'd let me down, they promised me they would come and then they wouldn't come. And then they just go back out and get really stressed. And then they come back a couple of weeks later, really stressed. Oh, I really need this. And then they feel better. And then they go out and mistreat themselves again. And it's really frustrating when you can see for them that there's a better way, when you can see that really they need to be able to do this for themselves. So it's a bit like, in fact, it's very much like when was it? In my early 20s, I'd had back problems for 10 years actually by the time I got to my early 20s, and I lived opposite an osteopath. But we had small children. My husband at the time was just get going in his career, and we didn't have that much money, and it was a big thing to go to the osteopath. But I kept hurting my back and I'd be in agony, and I mean agony, and I had 2 small children, so that had to be fixed. So I'd hobble across the osteopath, he'd put me back together, and then I'd disappear again till it happened again. And he just said to me one day, look, if you can't afford a whole course of treatment, you need to take up yoga. So he was in the same position, and that is how I got to practicing yoga and then later teaching yoga. So it's very interesting, isn't it, how it all comes together. But my point is that I don't want to be like that osteopath. I don't want to be treated as I was treating that osteopath. I want more. And he was right. And I took up yoga and it changed my life because I could strengthen the muscles, let go of stress, and I eased my back pain, and it's just got better and better and better. And I don't have back trouble now. So that's what I want for you. I don't want you to just come to a yoga class, feel better. I don't want you just to listen to one episode of my podcast. I don't want you to just get hold of the 1 minute mark, feel better. And you think, well, that's a bit mean, Heidi. No, it's not. You can do this for yourself. I want to empower you so that you get to decide when you feel great. You're not having to wait for somebody else to set up a restorative yoga class, or somebody else to give you a massage, or somebody else to take your stress away. I want you to have that power. And I believe that you have that within you. I actually believe you have everything you need already. You just can't see it because the overwhelm's in the way, which is exactly what happens. Overwhelm. That's why it's called the Overwhelm is Optional podcast, because it's optional for you. It's got to be optional for you. It's inevitable. Life can be overwhelming. It's just how the human mind is. But you've got to make overwhelm optional for you, because it matters. When you can't see for yourself all the choices, all the possibilities, the easier ways, the more joyful ways, the more satisfying ways to get done and achieve and live the way you want to live, that's terrible. And no amount of stress relief techniques are going to solve the problem if you're pushing against yourself, because you are actually creating the stress. And until you can see the power in that, until you are ready to learn the skills, to tune in and listen, and allow your body to guide you back to health and energy, allow your heart to guide you to the most joyful things for you, until you're at that point, till you have those skills, you're just stuck in this stress relief, stress relief. And it's better than just stress, much, much better. hugely better. Oh my God, I've been to some amazing workshops and come out going, oh my God, that's so amazing. I want that every week. And it gives you a chance to experience it, to believe that it's possible for you to feel that good, that at ease, that at home in yourself. But it's not enough for me personally. And there are plenty of yoga teachers. There are plenty of chiropractors, osteopaths, therapists, massage people. There are plenty of ways to de-stress, and you have to find what's right for you. But to me, they're a joyful add-on extra. Like, do it because it's lovely. Do it because it's nourishing. Do it because it's what you need right now as part of your choice. But when it's there as like this compartmentalized add-on, so I felt good during that, and now I'm just going to push myself too hard for the rest of the week. It's just not my bag. I'm not interested. I want more for you. And that's just my choice. That's who I am. That's me following my heart. You know, I know too much. I have too much to give, too much knowledge. I know too much to just give you that tiny glimpse. But I will always give you that glimpse. So, you know, you listen to a podcast episode and you get a glimpse. You use the 1 minute mark, you get a glimpse. I don't know if I'm doing, at the moment, I'm about to launch my 3-part brand new free workshop series, which is just going to be available for 2 to 3 weeks on replay. That gives you a glimpse, but actually that gives you more. That gives you way more. In the first workshop, you get the glimpse. And if you haven't caught that one yet, and you're listening to this in August or September, you can still get the replay. I highly recommend it. But then I get to teach you, if you choose to show up for yourself, I get to teach you the shifts you need to start understanding that you have far more choice and power. You have everything you need. And then I get to explain how I could support you if you want support from me. It's a choice, right? It's an invitation and a choice to be here listening to this podcast. It's an invitation, a choice from your body when it's chucking up symptoms of stress to listen or not. Your choice. You get to decide. It's your life, your way. You have to decide what you want. That's why I don't teach yoga anymore. Having said that, occasionally I do a surprise bonus inside Get Your Life Back, where, I do some nice, calming. We did a lovely heart chocolate workshop the other week, and that's been very popular. That's fun, because that's giving to people who can receive it and run with it and really appreciate it from a different level, who are actively working to set up their life in a way that works for them. So that's just a pleasure. And that's not saying it wouldn't be a pleasure to do that outside of Get Your Life Back. It would be. And maybe I will do that as a, some sort of paid masterclass. I'm developing something at the moment. But you can see why it's not enough. You can see why, being the person I am, I'm going to want to create shifts for you. So you get to see what's possible for you. I hope that makes sense. Rosie started snoring behind me, so I think that's it. Have an unexpected lovely week, and if you haven't yet signed up for my workshops, even if you've missed one or two, do sign up, because you get other things, including the replays, and they will only be available till about the second week in September, I think. I can't remember yet. Can't remember the date, not that it matters. So do come. It would be lovely to have you there. To find out more about my tiny, huge, life-changing practices, please visit www.heidimark.co.uk.